Hardcastle, Sam Delaney here to review the papers. Do you like dogs?
I love dogs, but I don't believe those corgis are real. I think they're robot ones designed just to amuse the Queen, and they never die.
I thought you meant maybe they were spies or something to infiltrate the royal household.
I think they've been designed especially for her.
And why not? Control. That'd be quite interesting.
No, not really a fan of handbag dogs. I like big, proper gun dogs. Anyway, that's not what you're here to talk about, is it? Sorry, where should we start this morning? The Independent, Kate.
Well, this is always going to, I think, give everyone a talking point, particularly as I imagine people rushing into town today, finding any car parking space they can. Internet shopping is no longer an option for everyone. Hopefully the retailers are going to start getting some cash back in the shop. You find a car parking space, you park the car, you go off, and then, just get stuck in a queue, head back to the car, and the yellow golden ticket is already waiting on the windscreen. And then we find out today in the Independent that £600 million is made from these parking fines. Now, the interesting thing about this report is that, for me particularly, because every time I talk about retail, every single time, parking is brought up. Rents, rates and parking. And it is a really challenging element. People do consider it about going into your local town or city and I don't really want the parking ticket. But what they're suggesting is, from a committee report, maybe a 5-minute grace is given, rather than just applying the ticket.
You can't do that, though, can you? Because then they'll say, what about 6 minutes? And then it'll be 7 minutes.
I don't know. I quite like the idea of some grace, because what's happening now is you've got CCTV, they're waiting for the second your parking ticket's run over, and that's it. It's gone. The time's gone. I quite like the idea that there would be some leniency, some grace, some opportunity.
Well, it depends, because of the individual ticket guy, sometimes you do, very rarely, find a reasonable one. Really? And they will give you grace. It comes down to, like, a human decision a lot of the time.
Oh, I've been told, because I'm very guilty of parking tickets. It happens a lot for me, you know. Sorry, ticket's on, that's it. No amount of trying to sweet talk or explain.
Get yourself a better watch.
Yeah, or go to a different... Because I like the ones...
No sympathy.
I like the ones where they
honestly have no sympathy at all.
For people who get parking tickets?
No. You know how long you've got. That's when you need to go and put more money on, or you can do it on your phone, fair enough. But if
you're on their side.
Well, if there's anyone out there like me who might have got parking tickets and thinks they might like some grace or some reasonable appeal process, then, you know.
But I like the ones where you go and you get like half an hour free or something, so you've got a certain amount of free time, and then that just gets the traffic moving on the high street, I think. So people think that they can just, you know, draw up, go to a couple of shops, get what they need, and then, you know, they free up the parking space for other people. And at least they get the high street moving.
Exactly. Half an hour parking have worked really well in smaller villages as well to really boost trade. So yeah, I think you're right. Free parking all round, but
they can reinvest some of that.
I feel like I'm going to upset Kate.
No, I just think, you know how long you've got. That's what you've paid for. You're stealing the time if you stay longer, and as a result, you get a fine. Fair enough. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, not many people will stand up for the old parking tickets. Well said.
Traffic wardens around the country will be cheering.
Exactly. They finally have a champion.
Karen Brady, she's got to champion the Tories, is she?
6 different Conservative local associations have approached her about standing as a candidate at the next election. Good news for David Cameron and the Tory party chairman Grant Shapps, who are looking for more females to stand for their party, because there's a dwindling number of women in the Conservative Party. It's been criticised widely for being too man-centric, and I'm sure many people would imagine that she's the perfect sort of candidate. She already has a profile. She already, is very...
This was her introducing Osborne, was it, at party
It was,
conference?
yeah. That's her at the Conservative Party conference. She recently went on David Cameron's, what did they call it?
Oh, the trip to
business
China.
tour
Right.
massive jolly on a jumbo jet to China. So she's well in there with them. But, of course, she is vice chairman of West Ham United, my club. She's done a wonderful job, and it would be awful if the Tories stole her off us. That said, she's the sort of person who I think, she already has a profile. She's very good on TV, and people will kind of obviously respect her track record in business. And so she's the sort of person who could probably reinstall faith to a degree amongst certain disillusioned voters if she went into politics, especially if she made sure she always had a big fan blowing her hair out like that in all of her photo opportunities,
sort of pop video
as if
style.
she were in a Guns N' Roses video from the late 80s. That's a good look for any politician, if you've got the hair for it.
Should be on the rider.
Yeah.
How many West Ham supporters are Tories?
Well, I don't know.
Good answer.
I can't see a polite way of answering that.
Exactly. I thought I'd just ask you, just be on the safe side. Ryanair, tell me about them.
Well, I think Ryanair are well known, very well known for their customer service. I think it's impeccable, I'm told.
You know, I once wrote to Ryanair
Did you?
to complain about their service, and they wrote back saying we haven't got customer service. And, yeah, they sent the letter back.
Saying can't do anything because we don't exist.
Yeah.
There you go.
Times are changing though. Michael O'Leary, who's the head there, who's the very outspoken head as well, has started to show more of a human side. Earlier on this year we covered a story about the fact he'd actually apologised to say, yes, we are aware that we've treated customers badly over the time. And just because you're doing budget, it doesn't mean you have to lose all manners as far as I'm concerned. And that's what's happened here. I mean, I'm sure it sounds like a meltdown of one individual, so it's a little bit unfair to say that's the whole company. But when you know it's Ryanair, it kind of appeals time again. And basically, this gentleman has gone to Italy, asked for a snack pack. What do you think was in a snack? What do you think's in a snack pack, Sam?
I don't even want to contemplate.
It was not going to be smoked salmon and caviar, is it?
It was 2 crackers and a piece of cheese, and he politely, I like the way it says politely, handed it back saying, I'm sorry, but £4.20 for that is a little bit extensive. And the gentleman said, well, that's how we get the cheap airfares. Conversations carried on. The passengers actually recorded it on a mobile phone, and then there's expletive, which the steward has now handed his notice in. But I just think, just because it's budget, you don't have to lose all manners, and I can only imagine the stress that air steward must have been under to get into such a situation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you do get a lot of passengers being very rude to the staff, don't you? And so it's very hard to...
And a mobile
they're in a difficult position as well, aren't they? If they're being asked to charge a lot of money for something that is, you know,
and also, as an employee, being forced to justify the business policy of your bosses in your company.
And again.
Just don't bother.
And how many of us would anticipate a row by having our mobile phone ready to record a conversation? I mean, he must have been looking for a row to start with, some might suggest.
Some might, Kate. Some might. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's very quick to activate the video. Everyone's got it on their mind nowadays, haven't they?
Well, just in case, record that conversation.
You never know when someone's going to start effing
like
and biting at you.
You can flog it to Sky News.
Last time I have a chat off air with you,
Neil's tweeted, Katie agrees with you, free parking 1 day a week to increase retail sales.
Well, it's a hot debate now on the sofa. Should we have free parking or not? Should we... Maybe Saturdays, maybe Sundays, who knows? There's never going to be enough parking to go around. We're all 2-car families these days. But...
If they declare it a free-for-all for 24 hours a week, it would be utter bedlam.
It would.
Yeah, and people wouldn't move.
Would be
but
like
if you did it for a certain amount of time,
spaces.
though, I think that they would, because then they'd just have to keep moving, wouldn't they?
Well, I think the thing is that, like you said,
not even Kate
an hour.
Half an hour over.
Well, I might do it now, just, you know, just to ring you up and say, Kate, just to let you know, I've got another golden ticket. Well done, me.
Tell us what Nigel Farage should do with his digits.
Well, it's not his digits that are the problem. According to Anna Soubry, the Conservative MP, she's a
minister, isn't she, I think?
She's a minister. Exactly. An unbecoming behaviour, you might assume, from a government minister. She was on the Andrew Marr show on BBC yesterday. Rory Bremner was on there, and he did an impression of Nigel Farage. She chipped in to say, oh, he always gives me the impression of a man who, can I say this,
Yes,
Kate?
you can.
Has got a finger up his bottom and quite enjoys it. OK? Now, she sat next to Peter Mandelson as well, the king of spin. I mean, we haven't got the picture of the look on Mandelson's face as he says it, but it's one of astonishment. Marr tried to stop her. However, I mean, obviously the papers in reporting this televisual faux pas,
like
they've all chosen very good pictures to suit her analysis. Because let's be honest, she's hit the nail on the head there. Obviously, he's disappointed, or you know, he's a man with a sense of humour, so I'm sure he finds it amusing. But he will cash in on it for political point scoring nonetheless. It probably won't do her many favours in terms of the way she's perceived by David Cameron as a great person to put forward for the media, or maybe it will. People like this sort of thing. You know, people like jokes about bottoms, don't they? Even in a political context. I mean, to be honest, she's done that well. I mean, I consider myself quite good at coming up with juvenile descriptions of serious things, and yet she's just hit the nail on the head. It's almost unbeatable. However, Andrew Marr did attempt to stop her. Clearly, as we've just learned, this is not something that Charlotte or Kay, either of you, would think it was necessary to stop if someone started talking about bottoms and fingers.
You really need to stop now.
Oh, I do need to stop.
The line is crossed.